My name is Carol Brankin, and I have been given the great honour of being your celebrant for today, as we join together to celebrate the life of a truly wonderful lady, our beloved Pam. May I welcome Brian, Christopher, Richard and Philip here to this beautiful setting at Oakley Wood. And I also welcome all of you who will be with us for today's service from the safety of your own homes. Today, there would have been so many people who would have loved to have been here with us to celebrate Pam's life and to say goodbye. And sadly, due to the current situation we find ourselves in, this could not be. However, I know that everyone who can't be here today will be thinking of Pam and of her family. Prior to today, I spoke with Brian and all of the elements for today's service, including the music we will listen to, the memories to be shared, and the beautiful poem that we will hear, have all been chosen by Pam's family with her very much in mind. And this will ensure that today is a very personal, a very fitting final journey for Pam. Together, we will give thanks for, pay tribute to, and celebrate Pam's life, a life well lived. As you all know, just 18 months ago, Pam and Brian's beloved daughter, Michelle, left this world behind her at the age of just 47. Let us take a moment of silence to remember Michelle as we hold her in our hearts along with Pam today. Please take some comfort that they will now be back together once more. And Brian would like to think that they will be sharing a wonderful afternoon tea with a chilled bottle of Prosecco. What a lovely way to remember both of these wonderful ladies today. Although today is a sad day, I would encourage you all to hold tight to your happy memories and of all of the good times that you shared with Pam, of which I know there were many. I feel that Pam would want us to remember her with a smile today, and with this beautiful and thoughtful service that has been put together by her family, I know that we will. And to start today's service, I would like to invite Christopher, or Chris, as he was known, to join me as we remember Pam. Thank you.
Good afternoon. For those who don't know me, I'm Chris, Pam and Brian's eldest son. I've been asked to speak on behalf of the family, but I'm not sure where to start. Who would have thought that only 4 people could attend Mum's funeral? Strange times we live in. a world which shows no mercy. I'd like to thank everybody who stood on the road earlier. It was a great tribute to Mum. And unfortunately, due to technology, we're unable to stream it live on YouTube and Facebook. It will be uploaded later. I'd like to thank everybody for their support, cards, letters and flowers. Pamela Ann Smart, wife, sister, mother, grandmother, auntie and friend. You are truly an amazing, inspiring, generous, kind person. Born on April the 12th, 1947 to Margaret and Ron Walker in Driftfield, East Yorkshire. This is where Ron was at RAF Leconfield and they lived there with Mum's older brother, John. Ron had just returned from India and Burma, where he was with the Royal Air Force at the tail end of the war. Grandpa Ron and Nana Walker are both from Liverpool. So Mum and John spent many times there while Grandpa was overseas. Grandad was posted to Egypt, and Nana, John and Mum joined him via trooping aircraft. They then returned by sea. However, before leaving, Mum fell fully clothed into the ornamental lake. I wonder who pushed her. After a short posting at RAF Shrewsbury, Grandad was posted to Singapore. The Walkers followed Grandad shortly after a visit to London to see the decorations for the Queen's coronation, then departing by sea from Southampton on the famous Empire Windrush troop carrier. This was a month's adventure to the Far East, allowed to sleep outside on the deck, and one evening the entire boat was engulfed in a huge plague of locusts. Singapore was still a jungle then, but they had an amazing 3 years, returning back to the UK by aircraft, 3 days, 8 stopovers. Lincolnshire became their home, and they bought a family record player. It was a time and era of rock and roll. Mum was keen to purchase her first record. She returned from the jumble sale clutching the hymn, Rock of Ages. In 1961, they were posted to RAF Gütersloh in Germany. They had amazing holidays travelling around Europe, and John and Grandad were aircraft enthusiasts. However, Mum used to like to nap in the car, but when she used to wake up, there was another airfield with aircraft. It was the height of the Cold War, and the RAF base was close to the inner German border. Alerts and evacuations were common. At one point, they were nearly evacuated back to the UK during the Cuban Missile Crisis. In 1963, they were posted to RAF Gaydon, which is now the home for Jaguar Land Rover, and Mum and Nana and Grandpa and John lived in Wellesbourne. This is where Mum and Dad met, working at Howard Clayton Wright Rubber and Plastics Engineering. After 2 years, Grandad was posted to RAF Binbrook in Lincolnshire. However, Mum and Dad commuted to see each other. Dad was then offered a company house. However, they had to be married. So on the 1st of April, 1967, at 1 p.m, they tied the knot at Waltham near Cleethorpes. Her RAF adventures gave her the lifelong skills to make friends quickly and keep in touch with them. In 1969, they bought their first brand new house, and in 1970, Michelle arrived. 1973, I was born, and then in 1974, the bombshell of the twins arriving prematurely. Looking at them now, you wouldn't guess that. This is where we met the gang. Great childhood growing up, babysitting circle, parents having questionable parties with games, fancy dress and camping holidays. Then we moved to Coppice Road, an easy commute to school. Mum went to cookery lessons with Lynn Sparks. However, some creations were very interesting, especially the infamous hot chicken salad. It was neither salad or healthy. Microwave chicken broken down into a dish, a tin of Campbell's condensed mushroom soup, mayonnaise, chopped onion, celery, covered in Smith's unsalted crisps and cheese, placed back in the oven to cook. This was truly one of the most disgusting dishes produced. Beige food only brightened up with peas. Things got better when Lynn and Mum decided to start up their catering business. This is where the famous salmon mousse and chocolate flans were born. We also had great neighbours. We had the Sicilian mafia on one side, the smell of Josie's meatballs wafting over the fence. However, there was a distinct lack of Indian cooking from the other. Surinder classed herself as a coconut, brown on the outside, white on the inside. Cooking wasn't her thing. She was far too posh for that. However, they did laugh at us, spending all summer in the garden trying to get a tan whilst they stayed inside. We had a great multicultural upbringing as one big family. Mum was the always go-to person for anybody's problems. She had the art of listening and giving impartial advice. Mum had a great circle of friends, always out shopping, days out, lunches, dinners. Right to the very end, her diary was always full. I would like to thank Lynn, Polly, Di, Kitty and Enid for being there for Mum and Dad and for your ongoing support. We are very blessed. Mum held the fort and supported Dad with his trips abroad, with work, council and mayoral duties and his army career, often out on regimental dinners, weeks away and weekends. Sometimes we could tag along to the shooting trips, riding in army vehicles, kept happy with our family lab called Sally, bottles of full sugar Coca-Cola and army ration boiled sweets. I'm surprised we're not all diabetics. Mum was born left-handed, and back in the 1950s, students were forced to write with their right hand at school. This is where Mum became ambidextrous. However, her left hand was the one to watch, an amazing left hook, taken after Grandpa Ron and his RAF boxing career. We all encountered the left hook from time to time, but sometime in my early teens, I back-chatted Mum, which resulted in her very large 22-carat gold wedding ring connecting with my front left tooth. I was taken to the dentist under strict instructions to say I fell over and knocked it. Being the cheeky teenager, when asked the question, "How did you do it?" I replied, "With the truth." Mum slapped me very hard. Mum's face dropped in shock. Thinking the dentist would take my side, he turned and promptly said, "Well, you must have deserved it." The next 15 minutes of gut-wrenching filing commenced with no gas. As we left, Mum looked at me. "Learnt a lesson today?" I looked a little confused. I told the truth. Mum just turned to me and went, "Karma, look it up when you get home." Mum had to put up a lot. Michelle trying to boss her 3 younger brothers about, which usually ended up in an argument. The legendary egg fight in the kitchen, which took us hours to clean up. Mum a little confused on where her 42 eggs had disappeared to. Richard found Dad's screwdriver set, decided it would be a great idea to take the back of the TV off to see how it worked, which resulted in Mum having to call Radio Rentals to come out and replace the TV. Philip thought his new bike jump was amazing. However, not calculating the landing distance of the fence and the vegetable garden, he impaled himself and his bike 3 foot in the air. Myself, thinking mahogany hair was a good look, which resulted in my long blonde hair turning pink and having to be shaved off. Mum's favourite colour was purple, just like Michelle's. Purple means you are mysterious, independent, devoted, sensitive, compassionate, understanding, supportive, and always ready to help each other. However, sometimes people will take advantage of you. Mum embraced the colour purple when she decided that going grey was not an option, so purple highlights were added to her weekly visit to the hairdressers, always at 10:30 on Friday morning without fail. You could set your watch by this. We all had to endure Mum's eclectic taste in music, James Last, The Shadows are just a few to mention. However, on our long road trip to Holland, played on repeat, Cats the Musical and Phantom of the Opera. This cemented all our dislikes for musicals. At a family Christmas, Mum helping Alan in the kitchen, plied with gin and tonics. She was a little squiffy. After the Queen's speech, we sat down to eat. Mum fell face first into a starter, which Matthew and James found highly amusing. Apparently, The reward of having children are grandchildren. You can spoil them, hand them back when you've had enough. Matthew, James, William, Jacob and Imogen enjoyed spending time with her, telling her jokes, pottery lessons and days out. Her latest grandchild, who she loved looking after, grooming, feeding her treats and cuddling, used to stay with her. Mum managed to spend a few hours with Holly at the hospice the week before she was taken back in. Holly, always by her side, searching for treats and a cuddle. Our world was shattered on Thursday the 27th of September 2018 when we heard the dreadful news that Michelle had died suddenly on holiday with the girls. This changed our lives forever. But Mum's strength was astonishing. She ensured everyone was looked after even through her cancer treatments. She never once moaned or felt sorry for herself, even enduring so much pain. She stayed strong for everyone. Mighton Hospice were truly incredible. They gave Mum the most dignified end-of-life care. When she was taken back in for suspected COVID-19, all our hearts sank, not knowing if we'd ever see her again or be with her in our final moments. I was so grateful for the time I was allowed to spend with Mum, 25 hours, but she kept fighting, knowing deep down this was not COVID-19, and she wanted us all to be there. On Saturday, Rich and I made the decision to join her, and Philip would join us on Sunday once he had clearance from work. This was a very, very special time. 12:55 was her last moments. Peaceful, dignified, just as she wanted it. We all looked at the clock and remembered the family tradition, Sunday lunch on the table, 1 o'clock. I think she was waiting for the call from Michelle, family and friends who've already left this planet to say it was ready. I can't thank you, Mighton Hospice, enough for this amazing end-of-life care. If you'd like to make a donation to this amazing facility, please visit their website. Mum made sure we all knew about this day, what she wanted. It had to be a celebration of her life. Unfortunately, you don't get everything in life, and today is one of them. However, we do promise to have a memorial service and a big party when the situation enables us to be together. That is a promise, Mum. It is now time for us to say goodbye. Your strength and courage has not gone unnoticed. You filled your life with family, friends and laughter. Dignified, strong to the bitter end. We should not be sad you have gone. We should celebrate your life, acknowledge the people you touched. You've made this world a better place. Your spirit is now free to discover new adventures, reconnect with spirits you longed to meet before and again. Please visit us from time to time, like a butterfly, drifting on a summer's breeze, elegant, beautiful and peaceful. So sleep well, dear Pam. You'll never be missed and never forgotten. You'll always be in our thoughts, prayers and hearts. Rest in peace, Mum. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Chris. Beautiful and heartfelt tribute. And I'd now like to share a wonderful poem that has been written by Pam's dear friend Polly for today, entitled Pam. She was tall and slim. I was short and fat. I think you would agree with that. She was posh and shopped in Marks. I shopped in Asda and market carts. But it didn't matter, because we were mates. She even ate my rock-hard cakes. Pam was always there for me, a real good friend, an adversary. We never bickered or fell out, never needed to scream or shout. We'd laugh and cry and laugh again. She was my darling, my dearest friend. She showed me how to be a mum. With all our kids, we had such fun. All in the car for day trips out. If the copper saw us, he'd really shout. You faced your illness, you've been so brave, and thanks for all the love you gave. You've been so strong and wonderful. I wish I would be more like you. So off you go. Don't be afraid. and think of all the friends you've made. Lifelong friends like you and me will go on through eternity. And as we listen to our next piece of music chosen for today, let us each take some time to reflect on everything shared during the tribute today, but also take some time to remember everything that Pam meant to each one of you. Think of the good times that you spent together over the years, and maybe take a happy memory from your mind and place it in your heart. As we reflect, we will be listening to Memory from Cats by Elaine Page. As we come towards the final part of our service for today, please may I ask you to stand as we say together the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And please remain standing. We have gathered together today, united in our love for Pam, but also in our great sadness that she is no longer here with us on this earth. Today we have given thanks for, paid tribute to, and celebrated Pam's life in a very different way to how we might have imagined. But we have done so in a very respectful, dignified, and loving way. Everyone who knew Pam loved her. She spent her life surrounded by the love of her family and friends. Pam was blessed to have met and married her soulmate in Brian, to whom she was married for 53 years, and to be a mother to their 4 children and a grandmother. We thank Pam for everything that she has been and for making the world a better place by being in our lives. They say that a memory is a photograph taken by the heart to make a special moment last forever. And Pam, we thank you for all of the wonderful memories that you have left for each one of us. And sadly, the time has come for us to turn, as we must, to say goodbye to you, beloved Pam, as we respectfully and lovingly release your body to its natural end. And may you now be reunited with your dear daughter, Michelle, as she waits for you, and all of your loved ones gone before. Fly high, like the beautiful butterfly that you are, until we meet again. Amen. Please be seated. Imogen has recorded a very special poem for us today, entitled A Butterfly Release. Thank you.
As you release this butterfly in honour of me, know that I'm with you and will always be. Hold a hand, say a prayer, close your eyes and see me there. Although you may feel a bit torn apart, please know that I'll be forever in your heart. Now fly away, butterfly, as high as you can go. I'm right there with you more than you know.
Thank you, Imogen. Beautifully read. A lovely poem. I'd like to thank you all for giving me the great honour of being here with you today, and with those who couldn't be with us. As we journey forward in our own lives, we will be listening to one final piece of music. For now, sadly, it's time to say goodbye.
Quando sono solo, sogno l'orizzonte, ma che ne parlo. day